Let's hear a little bit from members of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Mike Tomlin, Russell Wilson, Cam Hayward, on the unexpected loss by Pittsburgh and Cleveland last night.
It took us too long to warm up to the action. They brought it, and they brought it instantly early on. Thought we settled down and got competitive, but as you mentioned, it produced some negativity, particularly in the first half.
We should have won that game. We felt like we battled. We fought our butts off, and it was a tough environment. Obviously, we wanted to win this one. But unfortunately, we came up short.
Missed opportunities. We have to eat it. They made more plays at the end. Some of that stuff we could have, some head scratching about what was displayed. But man, just take it, move on. I know everybody's pretty pissed off about the loss, but, we got to learn from it and be better next time.
Now, Rodney, those are the responsible, mature, don't give the opponent any ammunition because you got to play him again in a couple of weeks responses to what happened. Then there's George Pickens. Now, again, these two teams play each other in 16 days in Pittsburgh. Here's George Pickens talking about the outcome of last night's game.
What do you guys try to take away from this loss? What's the message, in the locker room?
Just keep grinding. Like I said, conditions played a huge, huge part in today's game. I don't really think the Cleveland Browns are a good team at all. I think the conditions kind of saved them today.
Oh, boy. Bulletin board material. They don't have bulletin boards anymore, but I tell you what, I guarantee you. Go ahead.
Always respect your opponent. You see the difference between those three seasoned veterans. Hey, this is something we got to learn from. We got to get better. We lost. There are a lot of very humble, pissed off responses, but very humble. And then you get to George Pickens, and that's one of the things I wrote down. I wrote down immature, and I wrote down always respect your opponent. And that's what you have to do. And that's the thing that he's missing. He's a very dynamic young man. He's a really good young player, but he has to learn how to do the little things. I had a coach within the organization tell me, like, this guy, he needs to show up on time. He needs to make the meetings. He needs to do all the little things. You see the talent, and it's very frustrating that you see the talent, but the work ethic isn't there. So once he starts to really grow up and learn and mature and listen to his coaches, you're going to really start to see George Pickens really elevate. He's a very talented young man, but he's always going to be just okay because, he just doesn't have the maturity right now, Mike.
And that's what's got to be so frustrating to coaches and to players like you who busted their asses every day to get the absolute most out of their God-given ability. When you see somebody who has special skills and won't do, because there are so many guys who are like you were, get the most out of what I have. And then there's guys that have so much more and they don't get the most out of it. How great you could be if you would approach the game the way the guys who are milking every last ounce of their talent out of their bodies approach the game.
Absolutely, Mike, and that's the difference. And you think about this league ain't made up of all first rounders. This league is made up of third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh rounders and a bunch of free agents. Because as a fifth round draft choice, we don't take that for granted. We don't take the opportunities that we have on the field and we make it about ourselves. We make it about the team because we know that our opportunities are so few and so seldom that you want to take advantage of it. So you get a kid like that who's a nice draft choice, and he kind of takes things for granted because he's always been so much more talented than everybody else. And in this league, you start doing that, you start becoming a distraction and you're not putting up the numbers, they can definitely move on from you, especially if you're not making a lot of money.
And I don't want to single out George Pickens for the lack of effort on the Hail Mary play. We've seen Hail Marys connect this year at college and the NFL level. But it seemed clear to me that one team has practiced the play and was ready to do what needed to be done, and the other team wasn't. I didn't see a lot of effort from any of the Steelers receivers on this last play of the game. And this isn't some crazy Hail Mary. This is 35 yards to the end zone. And there's a lot of Steelers out there. George Pickens let himself get run out of the back of the end zone. A lot of guys standing around. Pickens is more concerned about fighting Greg Newsome, and then they got into it. Security had to break him up afterward. And none of the Steelers receivers were in position to get a chance to go get the ball, and all those Browns defensive backs knew what to do in that moment. Jump up and knock it down as hard as you can and end the game.
Well, we saw Mike Williams. He was sitting right there. And it was like when you saw these receivers running down the field, they were very casual, just kind of jogging because they did not believe that they were going to win the game. And you look at the Washington Commanders, when they did it, their receivers are sprinting down the field 100 miles per hour, and there's a sense of urgency because when you practice, there is an expectation. Even if it's a 1% chance, we feel like we have an opportunity to execute this play. We're going to go out there and we're going to try to do it. And I look at the Steelers, it was like, okay, we lost this game. There's no way that we're going to be able to make this play. And like you said, George Pickens got in the end zone and he allowed the DB just to push him completely out of the end zone. He wasn't like fighting or jockeying for position. Mike Williams is just standing there. Mike Williams, you're 6'4", 6'5". Turn around, get in position, and go up and try to catch the ball. But to me, those are the little nuances. We talk about Mike Tomlin as a great coach, and he is a great coach. But in this moment, he wasn't very good. His team wasn't very good because you don't lose games like this. You don't lose games like this within the division against a really bad Cleveland Brown team, knowing all the things that they've gone through. You go in that environment and you take it to them. And I just didn't see that. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, they need to mature a little bit and be able to handle the level of success that they're having.
And George Pickens was upset because he got manhandled on that last play. That's what happens on Hail Marys. That's an area where the rule book gets thrown out the window. In a Hail Mary setting, a lot of stuff that otherwise would get flagged under normal circumstances doesn't. And a defensive back shoving a guy out of the back of the end zone isn't getting flagged in that setting. It's just not. It's got to be extremely blatant and over the top, like the throw that Russell Wilson made some 10 years ago to Golden Tate when he shoved the Packers defender down and jumped up and caught the ball, and that ended the replacement officials experiment of 2012, 2013 or thereabouts. Rodney, I want to ask you this, because there's only so many hours in the day, there's only so many practices in the week, there's only so many reps at a practice. When you were playing for the Patriots, how much time did you guys spend converting and defending Hail Marys?
Well, we spent the majority, say, Saturdays on it, but we would walk through it, we would talk about it, and we would watch it on film. So we're watching Hail Marys on film. We're walking through a Hail Mary and watching, and the coaches are making sure that guys are in position to box out, guys, the jumpers that are in the end zone, making sure that you're in position where you can knock the ball down. He's constantly reminding us, don't catch the ball. Guys, I know if you have an interception, you want it, knock the ball down. So those are the different types of things, but it also goes to a coach that has strong emphasis on special teams and understanding situational football. And it's players really embracing that. Like, I've never thought, like me, Brewski, and all those veteran players, we knew the game wasn't over until the whistle blew. So we took all those situations very serious. And that's where Mike Tomlin and his defense, they're a good defense. They're still not a great defense. I keep saying this is a really good defense, but it's not a great defense. Not yet. They're trending in the right direction, though.
I just have this image of Bill Belichick with a reel of all the Hail Marys dating back to 1975 that worked, and here's what went wrong, here's what you need to do, and F-bomb here and F-bomb there as to what this guy did wrong and what this guy did right. That would have been great to be in that setting and learn, because that's what you're doing. You're teaching the players, based on things that have happened in the past, what you need to do in the future. And the Browns were ready for that play, and it felt like the Steelers receivers weren't. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.